Hey friends, let's use blocks to help open up the hip flexors and take a really nice restorative pose. This posture, a restorative bridge pose with a Psoas hip flexor release, can be really great if you have tight hip flexors, a tight pelvic floor, and just need some overall relaxation in the hips, low back, and pelvis. So grab a block and lay down on your back. There's a few different kind of levels to this. First one, you're gonna find your knees bent, feet flat on floor, and you're gonna take your block either at the lowest height or the second height. I like the second height for my body personally. Lift the hips up and scooch the block underneath your hips. You want the block closer to your tailbone than to your rib cage. If it's too far up your back, you'll find this arch and kind of crunching in the sacrum, which you don't want. So take it down just a little bit, almost like it's naturally tipping you into what's called a posterior pelvic tilt, lengthening the front line of the body. And you might have to play around to see, okay, what feels good to you. Sometimes I even feel like a little sensation of space being created in the low back. Now, hands can be by your side, or hands can be at the rib cage here. I start here with just a few diaphragmatic breaths, finding the rib cage and inhaling to expand. Exhaling to soften. Inhale. Exhale. As you breathe, can you really soften the low belly, the pelvic floor, the bum muscles, and continue to expand and contract through the diaphragm. This can also be a great place to take really gentle massage along the inside of the hip points or even the low belly. I find that's really helpful if I'm dealing with any kind of digestive discomfort, tightness, or even menstrual cramps. So this pose in itself really opens up the front of the hip, especially if you've been sitting all day, and helps relax the pelvic floor. Now, if you want to take it a little bit more sensation, I'll say, you're going to slowly straighten one leg out. So I'm straightening the left leg out, but keeping the left heel on the mat and letting the left femur, thigh bone be heavy. You might feel a little more sensation over the front of the hip. It shouldn't be painful. Should be about maybe a 3 or 4 out of 10 in terms of how high the sensation should be. And you shouldn't be feeling it in your low back. Sometimes if we have really tight hip flexors, you'll start to feel this in the low back crunching. So a couple ways you can work around that. You can adjust the block and see if that helps. Or you can draw the right knee into your chest and hold it in, which helps kind of just neutralize the lumbar spine a little bit. This can also create more sensation through the front of the left hip. Come back to the breath here. Notice the body. And then to come out of this, slowly lower the right foot, find it on the mat. Slowly draw the left foot back. And you want to repeat that on the other side. The block might have shifts so you can adjust. Right leg lengthens, left knee bends in. You can stay right here. Or if you want more sensation, or if you want to give the low back a little bit more support, draw the left knee in. This is actually my kind of new favorite way to stretch out the hip flexors. It's a really passive but impactful way to find some length. Slowly lower the left foot back down. And now the last kind of most sensation, and you really want to make sure that you're feeling it in the front line of the body, not the back line, is to extend both legs at the same time. Once again, if we're holding a lot of tension here, it can kind of tip us into the low back, so you can always adjust. You may even bring it down to a lower height, but still find length on both sides. Or that might not work for you, that's okay. It's always an option to kind of move around and see, okay, if I'm here and I'm gripping everything, that's not really gonna work. Can I relax into this posture without any discomfort? Each and every time you get into a new position, you expand and contract through the rib cage, or you breathe through the rib cage, I should say, to find some space and some diaphragmatic breath. This is a posture that you can stay in for 3 to 5 minutes and find a lot of benefits there. Enjoy. See how it feels.